Hello and welcome to Money Made Human, a podcast by First Class Credit Union. We are delighted today to be joined by Debbie Robinson, CEO of our co-op. Welcome. Debbie, I'm so excited to speak to you today. There's so much to talk to you about because you're a huge fan of the cooperative movement at large. Not just the cooperative movement within credit unions, but just the cooperative movement, as I said, at large. So can't wait to talk to you about that. But we were also really, really privileged to hear you speak at the most recent cooperative conference in Glasgow and thought you were just inspirational at that. And I'll explain a bit more about that later. So really keen to talk to you about that. But I wondered if we could kind of go back to the beginning, because something that really struck me about you was when you were talking at the conference, you really spoke as though you were a person of good value and someone that was ethical, but it sounded like to me like a good, genuine person. And I wonder who had informed those values in you.
Wow. Well, firstly, I've got to say thank you for the opportunity to chat with you. And I was so impressed with everything that you're doing at Money Made Human. I mean, it does what it says on the tin, and it's such an important subject. It affects everybody's life, and we know so little about our money management. We're probably more adept at other things, yet it's crucially important to our personal success, the success of our families, and just the contribution we can make in society. So it is a real privilege and a pleasure, and I really thank you for the opportunity. Well, I've got a long story because I'm 61 years old, so I've been round the block a few times, and there's a
And
quite a lot to share.
and looking amazing. We were just saying off camera there how great your skincare is, but not for recording. Um, but no, tell us, Debbie, tell me your story. Who and what has informed your values?
Well, we all have a story, and we're certainly all influenced and informed. But I was really, really lucky. I was brought up in a small town in Lancashire called Burnley. I was adopted into a family. I know nothing about my background until I was adopted.
Wow.
And I just, as I say, I was privileged to be brought up in a loving family. I have two wonderful sisters and a brother. We've still got mum, and I go to visit her every weekend. And we just enjoy special time that we have together. And mum was incredibly active. I suppose because our family was a kind of blended family, and one of my sisters, Catherine, was also adopted, but from a different family to mine. We're all really different, and I was always active, so I ran everywhere. I climbed trees. I just loved being outside. And mum channeled me into, I would run errands for all the neighbours because they knew it would just be a joy for me to run down to the shops, bring some shopping back. That my other siblings, I have to say, are far more academic than I am, and were really into reading and performed really well at school. And my favourite subjects were art and PE, and they remain passions of mine. And my nana, in particular, had an enormously positive influence on me around all things creative. So, I can make my own clothes, I can crochet and knit, and I love painting and upcycling furniture. But I love the quality of fabrics and understanding where it's from and the work, the labour that's gone into it, and appreciate all of those things. But growing up in the sort of 60s and 70s, they were pretty tough times economically, as anyone that was around at that time will remember. And for many places, including small towns like Burnley, industrial towns, all of the factories were closing. The mine was closed, so there was an awful lot of unemployment and of hideous words like deprivation that are used now. But actually, I always found the town to be loving, caring, and full of decent people who just wanted a good life for themselves and for their family. So I worked from being 11 years old, like most people did. You start off with a paper round. So I used to do the paper round before school. I used to love doing the Sunday paper round because you got extra money, although you had to deliver all the big, heavy supplements that came with the Sunday newspapers. And that was absolutely fantastic. When I was 13, I started to work on Burnley Market on Thornborough's fruit stall. And the family and the farm that owned that business were brilliant. They knew I loved my sport. So I would set up the stall in the morning, go and play netball, do a cross country, come back, work an afternoon shift and take the stall down. So I learned about, again, the value of fruits and vegetables, where they came from, how delicious they were, how precious they were, and just how what a big and important role that was in serving people with the best possible food that you could. From then, I worked for Marks and Spencer as a summer job as a student, and I worked for WH Smith Do It All. So some people might be able to remember that, but it was the start of the DIY chain, and it was when WH Smith was a family business. They sold that to Boots. So I had loads of opportunity and interesting jobs to do. I used to be part of the team that opened new do-it-all stores, and you would literally work round the clock for 36 hours to get the store open, ready for Monday morning, and help train the staff on the merchandising and how the tills worked and things. But a thread throughout my family has been the cooperative movement. And my on the end of my nana's street was a co-op. So it was the first shop I ever went to when I had my own money. And at the time, we used to get a sixpence, but Nana would give us a threepenny bit on occasion, and that was like, wow, what you could get with that was incredible. And of course, they knew you in the store, and therefore you were safe. And I know Nana was looking down the street as we sort of went in and we came out. But and it is the same today, that the co-op is really personal. It's actually about understanding each and every colleague that we have in our society, and most importantly, our members and our customers. And I know that if a regular customer didn't appear in one of our stores for a day or two, and that was unusual, that our colleagues, our team, would actually go out there and just check in on them and make sure that they were okay. But what I really love about the cooperative movement is it's pioneering. And I think what you do at Money Made Human is absolutely pioneering.
Oh,
Is you're talented and you're inspirational and you want to do the best job. And that's what true cooperation
yeah.
is all about. So I hope all that makes sense.
Oh my goodness. I have so many questions now, Debbie. Thank you for sharing your adoption story with us. I thought that was really moving to hear that. But do you know what struck me about you and everything you said there? You're someone with a passion for life.
Yes,
Is that
absolutely.
right? Would
Yeah,
that be right?
totally.
I love that.
Totally.
Even from your description of the fruit and vegetables to the textiles to talking about your family, oh, what an inspiration you are. Can I go back? You mentioned something about your mum. You said
Yes.
she's an amazing woman,
Yes.
and what makes you say that?
So firstly, she got me, if that makes sense. Even though I
Yep,
wasn't necessarily like her, or like my siblings, she understood me for what I was.
yep,
And so she channeled my energy by giving me jobs to do. Little did she know that that would be the making of my work ethic, of understanding the relationship between effort and reward. And I'm obviously in an incredibly privileged position now to be a CEO at our co-op, which is just amazing. And we have a brilliant board. And again, I'm blessed with an amazing president of the board, Elaine Dean. She's the same. We have similar values, but we're very different people. And I think what I learned from my mum and from all of that is it takes all sorts to make things happen.
Yeah,
And I therefore really embrace where there is an inclusive environment where everybody feels valued, appreciated,
yeah,
and respected. So I love people who are a bit different, have got a different idea. And sometimes we try to make people the same or make them like us. My gosh, that would be an absolutely dreadful place. So I always like to find people that are special and that they have a superpower, and that can come in all different forms. But when it comes together, it's really quite magical because they want to take off you the thing that they can see you're struggling with, and
sure.
they know they can thrive with it, which is just brilliant.
In terms of your role with our co-op, tell me about that and what informs your approach to your work, because I think you've got what, over 30 years experience in retail, but what informs how you go about your job now? Is it that kind of rich heritage that you've enjoyed having? Is it what what do you bring to your daily work?
So we're blessed in the cooperative movement, and we have to thank the Rochdale pioneers for the founding values and principles. And my favourites are self-help and self-responsibility. I love equity, democracy, all of the others, but those two to me are so important because self-help is what you can do for yourself, and your self-responsibility is the responsibility that you have to others. And that is crucially important. So they are really guiding principles. Without any doubt at all, our frontline colleagues are my motivation for going to work each and every day because I enjoy an enormous opportunity and job in the role that I do, thanks to all of them. So there's a really big shout out for every frontline colleague, whether that is in a food store, whether it's in a funeral home, whether it's in a travel branch, whether it's working in our childcare settings, are absolutely amazing, where they're growing little pioneers. And again, the clues in the name there, just like it is in Money Made Human.
Yeah.
Those things are so important. And then we have energy, broadband, and phone. And whilst they're digital businesses, there's still a real human behind them, and they're really differentiated in the fact that they are carbon neutral businesses. So in each and every thing we do, I ask our colleagues, what is the cooperative difference? Where is the member benefit? And I think that's how we succeed in the short, the medium, and the long term. I think I said earlier just about the pioneers were truly pioneering. They were groundbreaking in their thinking and in their ideas. And that gives me motivation too. Is how can we have a modern, relevant, cooperative businesses?
What's the scale of our co-op?
So we're a £2 billion organisation with 13,000 colleagues and 1 million members, and that lovely family of businesses. And our job at the moment is to really to make all of those goods and services available to as many of our members as possible. And at the moment, not enough of them actually trade right across the piece. Now, obviously, you're going to use the Little Pioneers early years education if you've got a child that needs that sort of care, or if in my instance you've got grandchildren that will use those services. But many of the others, they are real essentials. We've really got it covered, from being a little pioneer to shopping in a food store, to buying a funeral plan, booking your holiday, getting your first mobile phone, making sure that your gas and electric supplies are ethical and are sustainable through our green energy self-sufficiency initiatives. So it's finding a difference, finding a purpose. And so many of our colleagues find that really inspiring. And I remember saying, we're going to become green energy self-sufficient. And then the team said, okay, what's the plan? And I went, I don't know yet, but if we say it, we'll, that's the direction we're going in. And the team have been magnificent in coming up with ideas I could never ever have thought about, and that's Paul Lockwood in our procurement team. It's just amazing, and we've been able to do that not just for our co-op, but for our cooperative friends in the independent co-op sector, where we're procuring goods and services for them, and we've made savings to date of over £30 million. And
Well,
it's something I'd love to do that. I'd love to. Anything you're buying that we're buying, we can join together and benefit from that.
you told a great story at the conference about the purchase of tomatoes.
Yes, yes.
What's the story about buying tomatoes?
Okay, so I love tomatoes. I especially love the ones on the vine, the small ones as well. I just eat those instead of sweets, except I eat them and then I eat the sweets, which is probably not the best thing to do, but they are absolutely delicious. It's the fact that when it comes to passata and canned tomatoes, most of those come from Italy. And Co-op Italia are the biggest producers of passata, of quality passata and canned tomatoes. So we're co-buying, not just across the UK, but with all of our European partners. And we're also looking at bananas and citrus fruits too. So that's where the specification doesn't vary enormously between different countries. And I think this is the virtuous circle of cooperation.
Mhm.
And there's another, if I may, just another
Of course.
project, which is our Malawi project. And that is, it takes fair trade onto the next level. So fair trade gives the producers a few extra pence that makes the world of difference in developing countries. But Malawi is the fourth poorest country in the world. Yet they are producers of rich proteins, peanuts, macadamia, tea, coffee, cacao that can be converted into chocolate. So loads of amazing products there. Honey's fantastic too. But I try to focus when we're importing on goods that we couldn't produce at home. So the UK is got a really good source of honey. So we focused on macadamia, nuts, on rice, on the teas and coffee. And what we do with the surpluses is it goes back into specific projects, which includes clean water, but it is also about forming cooperatives. So they plant macadamia trees with the surpluses that we have. In fact, each time we do a funeral, we plant a macadamia tree in Malawi. And we plant that, it's a very rural economy, as I'm sure people can imagine. And then they start to produce, and the tree literally gets bigger and bigger and produces more and more each year. And then all of the people with macadamia tree have formed themselves into a co-op. So that means they can bring their macadamias collectively to market to attract bigger customers. And we work with the farmers, and there's the wonderful Dr. Sarah Aldred. She's actually out in Malawi at the moment working on an organic fertilization product that will actually enhance the yield from the trees that we're planting and therefore help the growers to produce more. But that again is being formed into a cooperative of fertilized manufacturers.
I love that. A few weeks ago, we held an awards event called Money Made Human, but underneath it, we wrote how credit unions can save the world. Now we realise that's a big ask, but actually, what you've just talked about, and whilst you're not a credit union, it's that opportunity and cooperation that can help to make a difference, not just locally but globally as well, which I think you've really demonstrated with the story from Malawi. And I just wondered what, in terms, I heard you say something really powerful, and it goes back to the start when I said it's one of the reasons we wanted to talk to you, but you said this really open and honest thing at the conference in terms of we talk about the movement all the time, the cooperative movement, but sometimes the movement doesn't move. And we kind of we felt inspired by that because we're trying to push through from the credit union side. And I wondered if you feel like that because you seem like a very agile, passionate, dynamic human. Do you get frustrated that the movement's not doing enough?
I do. And there's a principle six, cooperation amongst cooperatives. And we don't do that enough either. So I think we should all have in our procurement policies, it should be, is there a cooperative solution here?
Hmm.
And if there is, then we should always take it into consideration. It may not always win when it comes to a procurement process, but we should be open with other co-ops and saying, this is what we require of you to be successful.
Hmm.
So, absolutely, I think we're at a real pivotal moment because I think cooperation and the cooperative model, which obviously includes credit unions, is so important
Hmm.
to all of us now, not just here in the UK, but on a global scale. It is about self-help, self-responsibility, and organising yourselves to create the world in which we want to operate and how we want to operate. But that does require energy, it does require dedication and commitment.
Hmm.
And really, unfortunately, I have come across a few people in co-ops, a few people, and I really do mean it's a minority,
Yeah.
who think that it's a bit of a soft touch, that it's easy to work there because they won't be as hard on you. And it's not about being hard on people, but it is about ambition and
Hmm.
passion
Hmm.
and commitment and wanting your working life to make a difference
Hmm.
to the society so that the roles that we play and work for me can make a major contribution to society as a whole. And in co-ops, that is what you're encouraged to do. But I definitely come across resistance and I definitely come across people who just want to kind of ride with it rather than really grow. But boy, when I met you guys, you just had that energy and I was blown away
Oh,
and you
thank
do an
you.
extraordinary job.
We can I ask you something? We kind of believe at the moment around cooperation, credit unions, cooperative food, whatever category it might be, that if we can help to build prosperity, that can also help to lead to peace as well. You know, that old analogy of prosperity to peace, and the world really needs that just now. Would you say there's something in that too?
Think it's beautiful. And I'm so glad that you said prosperity rather than just growth,
Yeah.
because we talk a lot about growth. And I think there's been an insatiable appetite for growth, and everything is measured on what you did the previous year. And I think sustainable prosperity is actually really, really important
Yeah.
because if you look at the dynamics, we know that food consumption is actually down in the UK. So there's no point trying to say, "Oh, sell more," But how can we return to back to that quality
Hmm.
that we talked about earlier, which for me is enjoying the fruits of the season, working with local producers, so that the shop is actually serving the community, but the community serving the shop at the same time. So you've got this virtuous circle of cooperation. And I think it's so true. It's how we can raise people up and how we can level the playing field. And I think that that is absolutely crucially important.
For our members, we'll have members across the UK and Northern Ireland that will listen to this, and for a lot of them, food poverty will be an important topic, or food shortage, and we all know that budgets are being stretched. They can pick up a membership for the cooperative group, and they'll get member benefits as a result of that. That that
Absolutely.
that might help them. It might save some money.
Definitely. And as a member owned organisation, in our co-op pays a dividend on all of the purchases. That was a founding principle of being a co-op, back 181 years ago. It's crucially important so that the virtual economy means the people that shop with you are benefiting. But
Hmm.
if your producers can be co-ops, if your store can be a co-op, and if your customers are members of that co-op, they have a say in how things are run. And coming up just next week on the 20th of May, we're having our annual members meeting. And it's a meeting that closes off the financial year of what was Central Co-op, but it opens up the coming together of three cooperative societies: Chelmsford Star Co-op, Mid Counties Co-op, and Central Co-op. And that's what's formed our co-op. So we took the government's pledge to double the size of the cooperative economy, literally.
Amazing.
And we have achieved that. Now it is by coming together, but by coming together, I think we can grow and offer a differentiated proposition that people will choose to shop in a co-op, because the surpluses are reinvested back into our members and into community activities.
And I love also how the trickle down from that is a global thing. You know, you've talked about Italy, you talked about Malawi. I'm sure there's other countries involved in terms of supply chain, but you can, we might not be able to change the world in its entirety, but we can do the best that we can in the jobs that we can influence.
Well, these stats are honestly unbelievable, but the cooperative economy globally is 2.79 trillion. That is 4 times bigger than Amazon. And if it was an economy, it would be the eighth biggest economy in the world, just after France.
Amazing.
What are we waiting for? This really, I feel so compelled to pull this together. And if we were to have an ethical platform for co-op to co-op trade, where we all shared in that cooperative economy, honestly, it could double in no time.
And we need to tell more people. We need to inform more people about the scale of it and the impact they can have by being a member of a credit union or a cooperative. We're on a mission. We're with you. We stand with you on that. I just
I
wanted
love
to,
that.
I just wanted to ask Debbie, what's your hopes for the kind of medium term? What are you hoping to do individually, but for your organisation? What's the aspirations?
Brilliant. Well, I always have a saying, and it is to make every day count. And if your
Hmm.
heart hasn't rattled on your cage, that didn't count because you
Hmm.
didn't push it hard enough. And I think it's so important to feel alive and to
Hmm.
feel that you're making a contribution. And sometimes that can be really uncomfortable.
Hmm.
But we do have to make decisions for the long term. And that's the beauty of co-ops, because we don't have to answer to short-term shareholder value. We can make decisions for the long term. So by bringing those three wonderful cooperative societies together to create our co-op, we're really hoping that we can lead by example on how you can actually grow. And we use the International Cooperative Alliance logo, which is recognised all over the world. So that is the fascia that we will be going forward with. But we're also going back to the history of each and every branch. So that might have been part of Oxford Society. All of the stores in Essex are part of the Chelmsford Star Cooperative Society, because that's one of the few remaining independent societies that had not grown through acquisition of others. Whereas Mid Counties and Central had grown by bringing together other co-ops. But in doing that, we'd lost that local identity. So if that shop in Derby was part of Derby Society, we're going to recognise that and we're going to call that out at local level. I think that is so important. We're going to absolutely make sure, and we need to strengthen some of these, and we need to continue to strengthen them, that each and every business we operate in has a clear cooperative difference that is not replicated anywhere else. So how do we pioneer and how do we lead in all of those areas? So a couple of examples: in our funeral business, we do not pay for a funeral of anyone, God bless them, that passes away before they're 18 years old. So all of children's funerals are fully funded
Wow,
by by our co-op.
that's amazing.
And again, you don't want to boast about these things. It's just absolutely the right thing to do. But that is with the support of our members who
I
feel
love that.
that that is a really, really great thing to
Hmm.
do.
Hmm.
And in Little Pioneers, where 97% of the families that send their children to one of our co-ops, Little Pioneers nurseries, are members
Oh,
because they have a say in the curriculum. They have a say in the menu choices that are available for the children and for the activities. So they actually entrust us with their most precious,
mhm,
their little ones,
mhm.
but they have a say in how that is how those children are cared for. So again, this virtuous circle of cooperation is absolutely brilliant.
And Debbie, remind me and our members, geographically, where does your business cover?
So, on terms of bricks and mortar, as they say, then our most northern, and it happens to be a childcare setting, is actually in the northeast, and the most southerly is also a childcare setting, which is on the south coast.
Okay.
But we're around the Midlands and the home counties predominantly when it comes to food, travel, and funeral. But of course, our energy, our phone, and our broadband are national businesses because they can be contacted from anywhere during our website and online.
I love that. Thank you. Debbie, it's been so interesting to speak to you and inspirational to hear from you about the cooperative movement. We're not letting you go quite yet. Our team are going to join us and ask a few more quick questions so we can get to know you a little bit more.
Well, thank you
Hello.
so much.
You're welcome.
Can I
Hi.
just ask? There's just a few bits. I did my early bit, but I'd love to talk about the long-suffering Andy and my two wonderful children and granddaughters. Is that
We
okay?
we're
Is
gonna
that you're going to do that?
we're gonna cover
Wonderful.
that. We're gonna cover that. So we'll come back to that last, but I think we've got some quick questions, haven't we?
Okay.
We do. We have four questions from the team, Debbie. So the first question we have from the team is, was there a defining moment in your career that has helped shape your leadership style?
Oh my gosh, there have been many defining moments, but it's actually when I was working with a lady called Sarah Dickens in the people space, and what she said is really simple, but it really resonated with me, and it's everybody has the right to know what is expected of them. And sometimes we get frustrated that people aren't doing what we want them to do
Mm-hmm.
because we've not been clear enough.
Mhm.
But I also know that I thrive under leaders that give me space to grow.
Yeah.
And I've been blessed with many great leaders throughout my career. Ruth Barnhill, Malcolm Hepworth, John Bowes, just extraordinary people. And currently, I work with an amazing team. I'm working with Phil Ponsonby, with Selena Butterfield Mafushi, who is seriously one to watch because she can do absolutely anything. And Michelle Kem. So at the moment, we're quite a small but perfectly formed executive team.
I would normally interrupt the questions, but I love how you're so giving to others and
Mm-hmm.
raising others up, which is really a bit of the story of Money Made Human. So, no, we admire that. Go,
That
Bless
was great
you.
go for it, guys.
No, that was great advice. What are you currently reading, watching, or listening to?
Oh, well, that is dead easy because I'm watching Younger. And if you
Oh,
haven't seen it, it's absolutely brilliant. But we did the whole run of Mad Men, which is absolutely amazing. And we're watching Younger, and it's perfect when you come home from work. And for me, that's usually on a Friday night, and I just want to watch something that makes me laugh and fills my heart. And Younger does that.
Love that. Well, the other question we have, if your life was a song, what song would it be?
Oh
Loads of
my
confusion.
gosh. Well, it would probably this sounds really cheesy. There's loads of them.
we love cheesy.
Oh, do
Yes.
you? Then it would be Ebony and Ivory.
Oh, Paul McCartney.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that.
Amazing.
So we've got one last question. If you could speak to your younger self, what would you say, knowing what you know now?
I'd say just go for it. And too often I hear people say, you've just got to learn to say no. And I'm going, why would you want to say no? I just, it's just see every opportunity for what it is. Grasp it with both hands and make the most of it.
Amazing.
We
Thank
love
you so
that.
much. Love that.
Now back to what you were saying, Debbie. You want an opportunity to talk about your home team, your family. So they play a big part in your life, and as we all do with the juggle and work and trying to look after ourselves, what do they mean to you? What does your family mean to you?
So my family means absolutely everything to me, but from this moment on, they'll be called my home team. I love that. I think it's absolutely great because that's just what they are. There's the
Hmm.
long-suffering Andy who doesn't know which day or what time I'm actually going to get in every day
Yeah.
and actually puts up with that. He
Well
makes
done, Andy.
He makes me a drink every morning that I'm actually here. We've been blessed with two extraordinary children, Charles and Sophia. I felt we grew up together. We were pretty young when we had them, and we learnt by our mistakes.
Where
But
did you meet Andy, Debbie?
I met him at university
Did you?
when I
Oh,
was
Nice,
18. Yeah,
nice,
yeah,
nice.
yeah. So they are just extra, and we have fun. We can really have humour with each other. So and we just prepare each other for what someone else might say. So what that means, if you're wearing the wrong thing, they will tell you, and they keep me on the straight and narrow with what's politically correct and actually what you can and can't say. And I value and I cherish that. But they have encouraged me and promoted me, which is like this reverse mentoring. So they are just incredible human beings. And we're also blessed with two little granddaughters, Etta and Ottilie, that are a
Oh,
source of joy and are helping us run off our energy for sure.
are they your little pioneers?
Oh, they are our little pioneers. You're gifted at this.
Not at all. Not at all.
Gifted.
Not at all.
You're going to be up for lots of awards.
Not at all. On behalf of the whole team here, what a privilege to speak to you. Totally inspiring and joy filled. And Debbie, we wish you well. We wish our co-op well and the cooperative movement well. We're trying to do our little bit as a credit union. And no, we thank you for joining us today. You're amazing. Debbie Robinson, everyone.
Thank you.
My thanks to all of you.
Thanks for listening to the Money Made Human podcast. We're grateful to spend time with you and hope you enjoyed it. If you want to join a credit union, choose us. With love, until the next time, First Class Credit Union.